Hello, class. I just want to say, well, I hope you're going to get a chance, or you are enjoying this Labor Day weekend. Probably by laboring. This is what we do in America, right? We don't ever really get days off. We get times off, right? Like an hour in our day or something. So, anyhow, on God's day of rest, I haven't been resting too much, I have to admit. So, anyhow, um, I hope that you are enjoying much of what you're getting into so far. I'm a little behind on the grading, I will admit, and I am allowing, at times if you have late work, please contact me first. Um, and don't feel bad about it. Um, things happen, but please let's try to get the work in the correct slot. Um, for each assignment, just because right now I'm also my email is gutted with a lot of assignments that didn't get put in properly and that I have to do by hand, and that just slows down my grading for you guys. It doesn't really bother me so much. I don't want you to feel bad, but it does take me longer, and it gives me more room for making a mistake. While there's no mistake, if the assignment goes right into the proper spot, I can give you a comment if need be and make the grade, and the grade goes directly in with no question about where those points are going. Okay, and so I just want to point that out. Now, so we're going to be moving on to Egypt. Oh yeah, I feel like I wanted to just kind of just make a quick point that I can't even remember how much if I got into it on the lecture on Assyria. And then just a little afterthought to kind of just mention. So first of all, ancient Assyria is often blamed for being a very violent and bloodthirsty culture, and actually in general Mesopotamia. Okay, and even now, right? There's this kind of like concept of Iraq being a violent place. Well, of course it's violent now. There's been all these wars going on, but I mean, is it inherently violent? I kind of just want to point out something about geography. We've talked about geography. As you saw with ancient Mesopotamia, think about all the invasions that were taking place there. Think about how easy, the United States invaded. That whole region is really wide open to, what I mean by wide open, I mean that it can get invaded very easy, and it has been invaded quite often. And so if you're a society who's going to survive in that environment, you're going to have to really know how to fight. So I kind of want to just kind of push this idea that I want to clarify, that societies that are sometimes seen as more violent than others, people may ask about their religion or their culture. And what I have to say is if you look, just think how blessed the United States has been. We have two huge oceans protecting us, and we have only two borders with two nations that we are not at war with. Okay, and in the case of Canada, there's like really almost no complications at all. Okay, so that makes a big difference, right? Than what European nations and Middle Eastern nations have had to deal with. So I just want to remind you about this issue, the situation of geography and how that affects people that live there. And when we think about military preparedness, the ability to fight, and what that would mean for them compared to maybe in the situation for us. Just throwing that out there. Second, I wanted to mention really briefly, I did a lot of research on this. You'll notice in the Central Valley there is a very large Assyrian community. And so we just talked about ancient Assyria. Now, it's very fascinating. I discovered early on that I even met Assyriologists, people who have PhDs in knowledge about ancient Assyria, that did not even know that people still exist calling themselves Assyrians and identifying their ethnicity with ancient Assyria. And let's not get this confused with Syria. the Arab country that's having this long, very bloody, terrible civil war, that's Syria, and now we're talking about Assyrians. Now, some historians and some linguists argue that the word Assyria and Syria actually do relate to each other. I'm not going to get into that. Here's a point I want to make. I did a lot of research on this when I was in college, and I realized that it was too big of a task for me to take. Modern Western historians write very little on modern Assyrians. And in fact, if you go to the bookstore, you will not find scholarly books written in academic circles, for the most part, about there being Assyrians living and breathing today. You will find some articles or journals about those people, but an actual discussion of Assyrians now being linked to the past, there's not much discussion of. Some that have actually claimed that they're not Assyrian. Now listen, my Assyrian friends, I'm just trying to say that some scholars have did this, but I want to just point something out. There's an Israeli historian who got into, has a lot of people upset with him. He wrote a book recently called Invention of the Jewish People, and he claims that many Jewish people are not descendants of ancient Israel. You have European historians that debate things. I went to the Scottish shop. I think I heard you might have told the story already, where I said, are we Germanic or Celtic? And they were kind of upset that I even questioned whether or not we were Celtic. But then when I'm doing my research, lowland Scots may not necessarily be that Celtic, or maybe they are. Here's my whole point. Again, historians realize that ethnic identity and how it can be traced to actual ancient history is tricky, and it's not so easy as people often think it is. Now, having said that, I'm not saying that the Assyrians now are not from ancient Assyria. I'm pointing out that there's a debate on Assyrian identity as much as there is on Jewish and other European countries' identities as well. Okay? Because that's just what historians do. Historians are not welcome at nationalist parties unless they're official nationalist historians. Okay? Just saying. Now, the other side of this is there's a guy named Sima Parpola, if you're interested. He is an ethnic Assyrian scholar from Helsinki in Finland, who does write scholarly articles as an expert Assyriologist, attempting to link modern Assyrians to ancient Assyria. Very interesting work. I discovered him not that long ago, and if you're interested in looking into that. So the majority of Assyrians now are Christian, okay, and I also want to point that out. So they're Middle Eastern ethnicities that speak an Aramaic dialect of some sort, usually, and the language, and many Assyrians are speak 5 languages, okay, right? So I just thought I would point that out to kind of make some clarity on that. If there's any questions you have on what I'm talking about on this, please feel free to call me or text me, and I will go talk about it. So anyways, I'm done with this. Sorry about this very long announcement. I thought I was going to make it short, and it's already as long as another lecture or something. All right. Peace out, y'all.